EvaKyle, and today I'll be presenting my 3D model visualization of a commuter rail suitability analysis in Austin, Texas. The agenda for this presentation is going to be an introduction first to my study area, the data that I used, my methods and results, as well as my conclusion. So the city of Austin has become a real desirable area to move to, and with the population, it has increased over 4% since 2002. And obviously with such a rapid increase of growth comes numerous problems. One of those being accessibility to Austin's metro bus system, and another being traffic congestion. So the purpose of this study was to provide a solution that incorporates accessibility efficiently and would change the community's perception towards the public transportation in a positive way. So I did an elevated rail system as my solution because it would not only not take away from street and business widths, but being able to build up and not out will also help with future adaptability with future growth. My study area is located in the city of Austin, Texas, and it's going to be in central Travis County. I then narrowed that down even further to everything that's going to be located within the yellow box. These neighborhoods are going to be including West Campus, the University of Texas, as well as the entire downtown area. The data that was used to conduct this study was the United States Geological Survey, SKETCHUP, Survey 123, Esri, and as well as data from the city of Austin. So in order to create my 3D visualization, I conducted a pilot study that evaluates the decision of having an elevated rail system as well as an alternate form of transportation, as well as evaluating the current transportation system within the city of Austin. I gathered participants for this pilot study by sending a survey to local colleagues, and then by word of mouth that got sent to other local residents. To even get even more participants, I also posted in an Austin Locals Only group on Facebook that has a huge following. So in total, there was 48 participants that answered 17 questions, such as this one. When asked, what is your preferred method of transportation, 93.33% of those participants answered a personal vehicle. The majority of the participants were between the ages of 18 and 29, with professions in the fields of service industry, the medical field, tech, or they were student or professor. 100% of those participants agreed that Austin should incorporate a commuter rail line in place of its current bus system, with one person stating, "You don't know until you experience it, but I hate the bus." Also, 93.33% of those participants agreed that the city of Austin does have a major transportation and traffic problem. From there, I was able to determine that the participants in this study on average spend about 2.95 hours daily sitting in traffic alone. After gathering all this data in my pilot study, I was able to then lay down the foundation of creating a 3D visualization of the elevated railway system, starting first with figuring out my terrain and texture imports. This data was gathered from a USGS site and then changed within ArcPro. I also created a GEODATABASE in ArcPro that contained very important data sets and feature classes known to Austin. In SketchUp, I created and edited very recognizable landmarks within the city of Austin that I could then export as a static model to then be imported within City Engine. Once City Engine is launched, I get a blank 3D scene. I then can import my texture and terrain files I had just created in ArcPro to have this as my first layout. So from there, I began to create the elevated railway system. I started with the use of the Polygon Street Creation tool, and then I assigned it a CGA rule that sets the parameters I assigned to it, and then converts it from a shape to then a model to see what for the look that you see here in this image. I also added in more static shapes and models, such as trees, cars, people, to give a more enhanced effect of the visualization. So here in this video I recorded, this is going to highlight the finished 3D visualization. I was able to determine the route that the bookmarks here are going to show you that I saved by having discussions with Cecilia Abbott and as well as from my pilot study. The route needed to either go through or be within 300-meter walkability buffer of Austin's business center sector, the Capitol, right here, as you can see, the Capitol building, the University of Texas, and essential facilities. So the main streets of Guadalupe and Congress were chosen as the main parts of these routes because they're the most populated roads within downtown and West Campus neighborhoods and University of Texas campus. And they have access to everything I stated earlier that needed to be set as a parameter. So there are, as we can see here, I will scroll forward a little bit and pause. Right here where my mouse is showing, this is one of the 11 stations that are placed throughout the entire route system. This station in particular is placed right in front of Austin City Hall. And I was able to find the locations that I wanted for each station because they needed to be placed one in the most populated hotspots of each of these neighborhoods, as well as it had access to a bus route and or a parking garage, so it is even more accessible to everyone. And I will then show you, this is the layout of my route. Right here on the left-hand side, we have the main street of Guadalupe, and it goes down and across to Congress Street to encompass the Capitol building, and then up and around the University of Texas and coming back down and connecting back to Guadalupe Street. I then exported that model from City Engine and created a new 3D web scene that can be accessed by the general public that shows the bookmarks that I saved that is more user-friendly. To find my results, I used the same participants in the same pilot study and showed them an image of the city with the elevated rail system I had just created in place of the current transportation. And 82% of those participants said they would change their preferred method of transportation in favor of this rail line. I then asked if they thought the elevated rail line would help with parking issues within the city of Austin, and 88.89% of those participants agreed that they thought it would help. So in the beginning of this pilot study, I asked the participants viewpoints towards transportation, and 48% of those participants viewed public transportation in a negative way. So after showing my 3D visualization image, there's just an image to those same participants, I asked if this were to be Austin's new form of public transportation, would this change your perspective on public transportation in a negative or positive way? And why? These are some of the responses. Some participants said it would be my preferred method, that yes, they think traffic would improve, locals could take advantage of travel more, it would greatly improve Austin and take a strain off the highways. It would make me more willing to use public transportation. And yes, it would make me, I'd make me more willing to use public transportation. It'd be more positive. So my future analysis for this study, I were to perform a visual model connecting to an existing rail line in North Austin to create a model that connects to the current one I just did in downtown and West Campus. I also performed an environmental impact analysis from Landsat Imagery. In conclusion, overall, this study found a substantial increase in change of residents' perspectives, as well as a decrease in traffic congestion overall, with an increase of accessibility after conducting a network analysis within ArcPro. Any questions?
Perfect. 1 second.
Wow, that was awesome.
So first, before I get into questions and comments, well, one, I want to say thank you for your excellent presentation. And as I've told everyone else, if you can fill out this survey, it's while you're answering questions related to Eva's presentation, it's not going to be linked directly to her once we collect the data. It's just for internal assessment for the GIST program, so we would appreciate